Good morning, class. So before we dive into our proportional reasoning problems today, let's do a quick review and who can remind me what the definition of a ratio is. Very good. So a ratio is a comparison of two quantities, and ratios can be written with the word to in between the values with the symbol ... So if we are trying to find the ratio of boys to girls, we're going to say boys ... which means 2. This right there represents 2, and then girls. Okay, so looking at our first problem on our worksheet, it says there are 600 pupils in a school. The ratio of boys to girls in this school is 3:5. How many girls and how many boys are in the school? So let's go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is dissect this problem, and we're going to decide what is the important information that we're going to need to be able to find our answer for this problem. So let's go ahead and read it again, and we're going to circle all of our important information that we need. So there are 600 pupils, so we're going to 600. This is the total students in our school. That includes boys and girls. In our school. So the ratio of boys to girls in this school is 3:5. So we're going to circle that. So ratio of boys would be 3, and then 2 girls would be the 5. So for every 3 boys, there are going to be 5 girls in the school. So we're trying to find out how many girls and how many boys are in the school. So that's what we're trying to figure out here. So our first thing we need to do for this problem is find the total parts of the ratio. Who can remind me how we find our total parts? Very good. So we look at our ratio, which is right here, our 3:5, and we're going to have to add those two numbers together to get our total parts. So our first step is 3 plus 5. And say it with me, class. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. So this is our total parts of our ratio. Okay, so looking back at our problem, how many total students were there? Very good, there are 600 total students. So we're going to have to take that number and we're going to divide it by our total part, which is 8. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a minute to work through what is 600 divided by 8, and go ahead and put your pencils down when you guys have the answer. Okay, so our 600 divided by 8, who has the answer for me? Very good, that's going to be 75. So this is the number we're going to be multiplying by each of our parts of our ratio to find our total number of boys and girls. So if we take this number and multiply it by our ratio of the boys, so 75 times 3, which is our ratio for the boys. So I'll put that in here. What does 75 times 3 equal? I'll give you guys a minute to work that out. And we all should have gotten 225 for our total boys. Okay. So we're going to do the same for girls. So we're going to take our 75 for right here, and we're going to multiply it to the ratio portion of the girls, which is 5. So 75 times 5 for our girls is equal to, who can tell me that? Very good, 375 for total girls. So one way we can check our answer to make sure we got the correct thing is we can add our total number of boys and our total number of girls. We can add these two numbers together, and what should it equal? Very good, it should equal our total number of students, which is 600. So let's go ahead and add these together. Let's go like this. And that equals 600 total students. Okay, very good. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our second problem here. It reads, the perimeter of a rectangle is equal to 280 meters. The ratio of its length to its width is 5:2. Find the area of the rectangle. So we're going to do what we did in our first problem. We're going to dissect this and find our important information. So the perimeter of a rectangle, that's what we're trying to find here, is equal to 280 meters. So this is the total here. The ratio of its length to its width is 5:2. So here's our ratio, 5:2. And we're trying to find the area of the rectangle. So let's go ahead and get started for this one. So again, we need to start by finding our total parts of the ratio, and we do that by adding the two parts together. So our 5 plus 2 equals what? 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. That is correct. And that is our total parts of the ratio. Very good. So if our total perimeter is equal to 280 meters, we're going to take that and divide it by our total parts. So we're going to go 280 meters divided by our total parts, which is 7. I'll give you guys a minute to work that out. And very good, we all should have gotten 40. So we're going to take this number and we're going to use it with each of our numbers from our ratio to find the length and the width. So to find the length of the rectangle, we're going to multiply our 40 by 5, which is in our ratio here. So 40 times 5 is equal to, hold on, buddy, is equal to, very good, so 200, and this is going to be our length of the rectangle. So we do the same for our width. We're going to take the 40 and multiply it by the second part of our ratio, which is equal to the width. So that is 2. 40 times 2. Give you guys a minute to work that out. And we all should have gotten 80 for our width. Very good. So who can remind me, how do we find the area of a rectangle? Very good. So it's length times width is equal to area. So if we look up above at our answers here, we have 200 for our length and 80 for our width. So what is 200 times 80? Very good. So 200 times 80 is equal to 16,000. And whenever we're working with area, we need to be sure and label our answers. So in this case, it's going to be our meters squared. Good job, class.